All right, so this one we're not streaming because my internet's being weird, but I still want to get some work done. Uh, but what we're doing here is we are configuring RSpec, right? So let's make a branch. Let's check out a branch. Get branch. What do we call it again? RSpec setup. Not D. Not D. Cool. What am I doing? It's get checkout. Ugh. At some point, all the commands just blend together. Okay, it says here we're on the RSpec setup branch. Over here, we're on the RSpec setup branch. Let me grab the blueprint of what we're working on. Sure. Cool. I'm going to split this to the side. One thing I want to note here is I'm going to take it with database cleaner, and let's kind of get started what we're going to do here. All right. The first thing I want to do is I want to check over what I currently have. It's generally a good idea to do that kind of thing, just to verify. Let's check out development test. Excuse me. Debug, check. RSpec, check. Factory bot, check. Faker, pry. Excellent. Test, we got shoulda matches and capybara. Fantastic. So RSpec, we got RSpec for Rails, factory bot, Faker, shoulda matches, capybara. Let's take a look at the spec directory. We've got our Rails helper and our spec helper. The spec helper is your basic RSpec configuration stuff. Your Rails helper is your Rails specific test stuff, right? So the next thing is that because we're using shoulda matches, we have to set that up. So we're going to grab the Rails helper file. Let me resize some of this. This does not need to be this big. I was making it that big for commenting this here. That's good size. We're going to go to the bottom, and I'm going to copy and paste some code. This is the shoulda matchers setup block of code. And essentially, we're just saying like, hey, shoulda matchers, you're using RSpec and you're working with Rails, right? We're also going to use FactoryBot, and so this goes inside the RSpec configure block, and this is going to be. Let me give it some extra space there. We're saying that hey, this config, you are going to use FactoryBot and the methods. Next thing we're going to do is in our spec directory, we're going to make a new folder for models and a new folder for features and a new folder for factories. Cool. And so what I'm going to do is for just the setup, we're going to create a simple factory, and a factory is a bit of code that creates like fake objects for us to test with, so we don't have to like define everything. I'm going to make in our factories folder, I'm going to make a new file, users.rb. The first thing we're really going to build out are users, so we're going to create a factory for our users. And what we're going to do is that we're going to set up like this: factorybot.define do. No. Do. Okay. And then why are you 4 spacing? It should be 2. Weird that would do that. All right. There we go. Factory user do. And this user's going to have email or password, so we're going to do like this: email, faker, internet, unique, email. And essentially, it says that hey, when we make a fake user when we make a fake user from this factory, it's going to use the faker library to generate some kind of email for us. And next, password digest, and it's going to be password hash. Right. Cool. And so as we get this started up, we are going to create a user model. I know this isn't like kind of TDD, but I just kind of want to get my test set up in a way that so I can just make sure they work. I can mess with that. So user, no, not concerns, but in models, new file, user RB, and in this app models user RB, I'm going to do class user is going to inherit from application record. And again, indent using spaces 2. Why is it not doing that? We'll fix it later. We'll fix it permanently later. Where you has secure password and is going to validates email presence true uniqueness true. We're saying that, you know, when we have a user, the email it'll has to have an email and it has to be unique from other ones. Cool. So I'm going to generate migration here. Rails G migration create users email string unique password digest string admin boolean username string, probably unique that as well. And that by that's a change I came off the top of my head. We'll just change this to that the username is also unique. We'll add that so it has that validation as well. Cool. Let us look through DB and the migrations. Take a look at it. True. Cool. So we have these things, also these indexes to make sure we're doing things correctly. So we take a look at that. So the next thing we got to do is that because we're using has secure password in the user, I do need to add to the gem file. Let's see if it's here already first. Nope, it's not here yet. So I'm going to add it down below. Gem bcrypt, comma, squiggly, or tilde, 3.1.7. Cool. And then we're going to run a bundle. Cool, that I already installed it, so it's not going to complain about that. And let's run the migration. Cool. The migration is there. We can verify that by looking at the schema. Yep, schema checks out. And now let's make a model test. And again, yes, a little out of order, but I just really wanted to get this done. Not done, but like figured out. And then going forward, we'll write tests. Make sure we're doing tests first. Where are you, spec directory? Where are you, spec? Not the factories, but the models. I'm going to make a new file. User spec.rb. And let's write our test. Acquire Rails helper. Cool. Again, I promised you that I will fix this. I don't know why it's doing this now of all places. All right, so in here, we're going to do basic validation test using shoulda matchers. And that's going to be it should validate presence of email. Let's put parens here. Email, extra space. It should validate uniqueness of email, right? Oops. And I'm going to copy this and repeat it for user name. Cool. That looks good. Next up, factory test, right? And we're gonna do this. It has valid factory do, and we're gonna do expect build user. And what build user does is says factory bot, like, hey, I'd like you to make this fake user for me to be valid, right? And then we'll do another test here. We're going to do it is not valid without an email. Do user equals build user email nil. Expect user, oops, not to be valid, right? Detect that. That's good. So I'm going to run our test, see what happens. Oh no, what's happened? Undefined method uniqueness of RSpec group user spec level 8, number 8. Yeah, that's because I spelled this wrong, and we need to have underscores in there. Not spelled it, but typed it wrong. Cool, what's this? Has a valid factory. Expected to be valid, but errors username can't be blank. Right. The reason why the username can't be blank is because we don't have a username here. So let's take a look at my Faker documentation. Where are you, web browser? Faker gem documentation. Oh, library for generate doc, you know. I'm just gonna ask, like, there's like with the Faker documentation, there's like 10 million different things that you can use, and there are generators. I look at the generators, and what do we got here? What are some good fantasy? Default. Funny name, Faker. Funny name. Let's see here. No, that's like a. You know what? This is a good thing. I'm going to ask AI. And like, I want to use the Faker gem to generate usernames. How should I use that? Ooh, here we go. What I'm going to do is in this thing here, I'm going to do username, Faker, internet, oops. Perfect. We'll run this test again. And they all pass. Look at that. Fantastic. Cool. All right. So let me go back to our test. Cool. I think that is it. I think that's good. We've made sure that our stuff works. What I'm going to go ahead and do is go to my GitHub here. We're going to commit the gem file, gem file lock, user, schema, migration, Rails helper, users. Cool. We're going to let the Copilot generate the commit message for us. Yeah, done. Commit, and that's ready to go. Cool. So another step forward in our application. Again, the user setup and some testing setup. That should work fine. Cool. Yeah, like, subscribe, follow, all the cool things. Questions in the comments. We'll answer them. Have a good rest of your whatever time you're doing.